Jam Jar. Everyone listens to Jam Jar. Well, almost everyone anyway. Jam Jar. Everyone listens to Jam Jar. We're gonna jump and shout and talk about everyone knows about Jam Jar. Everyone listens to Jam Jar. That's right. Spread it around. Woo-wee. Hello, listeners and TV people, of course, now because we're live on YTV. Great to have your company this Tuesday here, and be back again for another session of Jam Jar. What's Jam Jar? Okay, Jam Jar is a program that has emphasis on creativity, music, poetry, painting. We get people in the studio and we talk with them and find out what makes them tick and what doesn't make them tick and all the rest of it. And sometimes we have musicians playing, and it's if you like a little creative sort of network that where we can get and discuss things about what's really going on in the Wairarapa. But lovely to have your company if you're on board today. And we're going to just have a quick run around of what's happening in the area before we get into our program per se proper. We've got a special guest artist with us today, and I won't divulge any other than that yet. But okay, so first of all, big thanks for Dan Broughton. Dan, we love you, man. We know that you support us, and without your support for the program, we know that you fund this program, and that's great. Dan Broughton, he's got the Wairarapa web design. So if anyone's interested in creating their own web design, they want to go on and actually have a look at some Wairarapa web design. You'll be surprised. He's created some amazing websites, and without a doubt, it will improve your whole persona and your business out there in the bigger world. Yeah. Okay, what's happening? We're getting towards Christmas, and I don't know whether things are picking up or not. I think they might be slightly. I feel a slight acceleration, but not too much yet. Well, the kids at school, they're definitely poking me and say, Mr. Brown, Christmas, you're going to get us a Christmas present, Mr. Brown. They always say that every year. And but yeah, no, music-wise, let's just talk about music for a minute. There are a few things that are happening, a few new little, what I want to call pockets of energy and musical happenings. One is out at Paper Road. Now, Paper Road is out on the road that you go past. It's out towards Opaki. In fact, it's in Opaki itself. Helena is the lady out there, and she's having and trying to have regular musical, what would you call musical happenings. My band, the Kingston Brown Trio, played there the other week, and Rob Munsell's band played there, I think, last Saturday. They were there, Graphia, with a few guys, there's 3 or 4 of them, I think, actually. But she's endeavouring to have something regular happen there, which is great. As far as anything else going in the middle of town here, still not a lot of movement, but we're trying to create a few spaces of where we can get some music on a regular basis happening in the small area of Wairarapa. Further out, there are some gigs happening, like Gladstone Inn is still having their monthly music night. And we just had one last Thursday. It was great. And everyone, of course, anyone is welcome to that. And if you can play, hum, dance, sing, whatever, hang in trees, you can get up there and do anything, and you'll be welcome. But other than that, we've lost a lot, as I've said in the last couple of programs, we have lost a lot of venues. So we're trying, from a musician's point of view, we're trying to create some music venues so that our musicians actually have somewhere to play, which is very important. It's all very well learning and doing your music and stuff, but unless you have a performance platform to be able to actually sing to the audience and maybe produce what you've been working on for ages, it can become a bit dispiriting and a bit sort of But anyway, we're moving on. What else is happening? Let me think. Yes, the Tin Hut. Now, I wanted to mention the Tin Hut. On the 4th of November, there's a big musical thing happening there, 4th of December, sorry, not November, 4th of December. That's going to be another one of the big nights, and I know that the Dixie band that I'm in, called the Remutaku Dixie Swing Band, is going to be playing, and a lot of you have Facebooked us and got in touch with me and asked when we're going to play again. That's when we're playing again. There will be some other acts on as well from Wellington. I'm not sure exactly who they are, but I think Rob's actually getting a poster, and he's sorting it out at the moment. So that'll just watch out around town, and there'll be a poster come up and they'll tell you exactly what's happening. As far as other things go, we are working on some other venues. Henley Lake, there's a venue over there, and I've had just recent meetings with certain individuals to try and get another a regular thing happening over the summer period, the Christmas, December and early January, so we can get some live performances, especially in that arena area where the little amphitheatre is. I've always thought that would be an amazing place to actually have live music, and almost if we have it in the afternoon, it could almost be a family thing, and then maybe at night we can go on and do something a bit more serious and a bit more out there. Yeah, so what else? What else is happening? Not a lot. I think I will say that there's a guy called Nick who's a friend of mine. I'm not sure what Nick's second name, but he's in charge of running the music thing down there where the containers are. I think it's called Con Art. And Nick is pretty keen on getting regular things established in that little area there, which is good. Also tonight there's a open thing happening with a guy called Jonas. I've had him on the program here. He does all the percussion stuff and woodwind. He's a Czechoslovakian friend that's pretty onto it, and he's running a thing there tonight, and it's basically donation only, but it's a great night. If it's a really warm night, it'd be great out there, and that's in where that little area of grass is where the Con Art is. If it rains, apparently they're going to head inside to somewhere in Aratoy. But so keep that in mind. You probably won't get that because this will go to air tonight. It'll be on TV tonight, but it could be a bit late. But anyway, for the following Tuesday, and Tuesdays after that, it's on every Tuesday. It's a really good thing to be part of. I think that's probably about all I can think that's actually happening in the greater area at the moment, Wairarapa-wise. Yeah. So I thought, well, what I'd do before I introduce our guest artist, I thought I might actually play a little song myself. And this will be my contribution to the music thing. I did a little bit at the beginning, but that's always different. We never know what we're going to end up with, how the beginning goes. But this is the little Japanese number called Tuning. That's not too bad. Yes, I've had requests for Kathmandu. And I've played it 3 times already on the show, but anyway, I'm going to play it again, just a little bit of it, just to... this is the number written for my son years ago after a visit to Kathmandu. And he was amazed about all the cats in the street in Kathmandu, and there were a lot of cats. And I remember him saying, he asked my sister who fed the cats or what were the cats about. And she said, oh, no one feeds the cats. And Josh said, oh, because he's a real animal lover, my son. And he said, what happens to the cats? She said, oh, they put them in pots and they stew them up and they feed them to the tourists. Just a bit of a joke. Well, it didn't go down too well, Josh. And he was a bit upset about it. So I wrote this song, especially for a bit tongue-in-cheek, but called Kathmandu, and it goes like this. So, especially for you guys out there who requested this song. Catch a cat in Kathmandu, yeah. Put him in a catman stew, 'cause there'll be some for me and you, yeah, down in Kathmandu. Catch a cat in Kathmandu, yeah. Put him in a Catman stew, 'cause there'll be some for me and you, yeah, down in Kathmandu. Sing it out. Shoot, 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 meow. Shoot, do, 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 do. Shoot, do, do, do. Shabba, shabba, shabba-da-ba-da. Da-da-da-da. Shoo-scoop-ba-da-dee-ba-ba, scoo-dee-ba-ba, scoo-dee-ba-ba. Oh. Catch a cat in Kathmandu. Put him in a Catman stew, 'cause there'll be some for me and you, yeah, down Kathmandu. Big old baboon in old Rangoon. Hear him croon beneath the moon. He's singing slightly out of tune. That's because he's just an old baboon. Chinchillas, they're chomping, chowing China. At the Golden Dragon Diner, they're crazy cats from Carolina. Oh, caught in Kathmandu. Shoo-doo-doo, shoo-doo-doo-doo. Shoo-doo-doo-doo. Shoo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Shabba-dabba, shabba-da, shabba-dabba-da. Do-do-do-do. Da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Catch a cat in Kathmandu. Put him in a Catman stew, 'cause there'll be some for me and you, yeah, down in Kathmandu. Way down in Kathmandu. Way down in Kathmandu. Way down in Kathmandu. Oh yeah, there you have it. Especially for you guys, Kathmandu. Well, now it gives me great pleasure to actually introduce my guest, Nathan Crombie. Nathan, great to have your company.
Tēnā koe, Stefan.
Yeah, mate, I've been trying to get hold of you to come on the program for some time, but I'm glad it all worked out, and that you're with us, and so I'm sure we're going to, the listeners will be rapt to be able to find a little bit more about Nathan, the man, Nathan the person, the writer, the musician, the poet, you know, mate, goes on and on, doesn't it?
Yeah, hey, I'm grateful for the invitation, Stefan.
Yeah. Well, listen, let's just, so for the listeners, we'll just start from the beginning, I think, and just talk a bit about you're a local lad, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah,
Yep.
Born and bred in Carterton, which is, you know, a steamy metropolis by all counts now.
Yeah.
At least it is somewhere special. Apparently, according to Billy Apple, it's the centre of the submerged continent we're sitting on.
I did hear that, yeah.
Yeah, Irlandia. Wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, schools, Carterton, Makolta College?
No, I was born in Carterton because my parents happened to be living there at the time.
Yep.
Born in Masterton at Masterton Hospital, at Masterton Maternity. Went to Lansdowne School. Then I was a foundation pupil at Hiona Intermediate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then on to Makora before it became Makota. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Kahununu, Waitaha and Ngāti Kahununu, Waitaha and Ngāti Rakawa.
Okay, great stuff. Oh, well, you've definitely got connections, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Double-barreled Ngāti Kahununu on both sides, mum and dad.
Yeah,
so.
you can't lose, mate.
Yeah.
Win-win situation. Yes, because you and I, we go back a little ways. back to, I think, mid-'80s maybe?
Yes, we do, yeah.
About mid-'80s, I'd say.
That's a fair way, yeah.
I can remember very well meeting you, and it was actually through music then. I mean, there was I was friendly with a guy called Errol Bruce at the time. You remember Errol?
That's right, yeah, I do. Engineer.
Yeah, sound engineer.
Yeah.
Did all his training down Christchurch and theatre training, but also a good sound man, but very good with recording and lighting and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Well, at the time, I was singing in a 4-piece band, Token White.
That's right.
Yeah, I was the only Maori in the band that was white. So, and the name of the band was actually coined at your home studio in Carterton.
Yeah.
As it happens.
Yeah.
You had actually said that the music we were playing was swamp rock.
Yeah.
As a genre.
Yeah.
And we were pretty new to the block, so we didn't really have a name nailed down.
Right. Yeah.
And you'd suggested, swamp rock, let's go in that direction. And I think I'd said there was something about a joke being the only white Maori. I was the token white.
Yeah.
And that'd be a great name. You had backed that up. So
yeah, I said that's good.
Yeah.
No, it was. We had a lot of good times in that studio and recording, and I think Errol's actually still got a lot of those early recordings we did.
Yeah, there was a few
on tape. There was a few. He's still got them on because we were recording then on tape rather than it's all digital now, of course. But we actually had the big 8-track recorder, an 8-track.
Right. Yeah,
Remember
if
that?
you remember Lenny T,
I do.
He had one of, I think, the few 4 tracks at the time.
That's right, one of the TX, I think it was.
Yeah, and we had recorded a couple of tunes with him as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Old Lenny. Yeah, well, those early times, I do remember what I did like about the tape recording was it definitely had a different sound. It was slightly analog with a definitely slightly warmer sound.
Oh, yeah.
You can definitely pick it.
Full.
Of that area. And Errol was good. He'd just say, oh, yeah, tape recording, or he'd say digital. He can pick it just like that. So, yeah. But, that was in Carterton at the house in the garage there where we had the studio built.
That's right.
And
with the gold 45 on the wall.
That's the one.
Very wonderful.
Yeah, they were good times. Okay. So I'm just going to move through. I've got a few notes I've taken down here, but so the group sort of went and did a few live gigs as well. You did some live gigs.
Yeah, we played from Wellington up to Taranaki. Most of our live performances were in and around Wairarapa, but Wellington, Taita, right through.
Right.
Mostly pub gigs. We played in Palmerston North at the Café de Paris.
Oh yeah.
It was the if I remember right, it was the Mother's local.
Oh yeah.
And I had thought, well, we're not going to go down because wherever we played, this is like mid-'80s. People were asking for AC/DC, or rock, and we had more of a jazzy sort of R&B feel as well.
Yeah,
and I was sort of I didn't think that we would go down in the venues we were playing, but there were no bottles thrown, and they asked us back, so it must have done something. And we had a following. People would come to where I was living at the time, and we had we rehearsed and practiced in the garage with egg cartons on the walls and underlay,
Yeah, I remember it well.
Yeah, and we had older neighbours.
Yeah.
And people would come and listen to us just to rehearse. So, we enjoyed doing what we're doing and liked that people liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. So can I ask, Nate, you were starting to write your own material then, eh?
Yes, that was the first real foray into lyrics and poetry.
Right. So getting into the earlier stuff, obviously, you had abilities because you ended up actually getting into journalism with the Y Times, the called Wairarapa Times Age for
Yeah, that's
a while.
right. Well, what happened was I was singing in the band as well. I was doing Quicksilver singing messenger service, so I was doing singing telegrams.
Right.
They were a thing.
Wow.
And it was successful, and I was getting work every weekend, and that was just word of mouth. And it just didn't seem to gel with being the gravity of being a reporter.
Yeah.
So I Actually, and the band was a decision to either stay with the band or
We'll move on.
follow reporting. So I switched a gear.
Yeah, exactly. No, I can remember some of the early days when you got into reporting, because obviously your name would come up sometimes in the paper articles and different stuff, and you'd be reporting on this and that, because you were actually roving for a while, going out.
Yeah, that's right.
Which was pretty.
Yeah, I was doing music reporting. I'd started, I'd worked with the Times Age only for a brief period, a year or so, a couple of years, and it was, I counted as a success. I reported from Washington, filed international copy.
Yeah.
And that was quite an experience. I had followed music through because of the interest, and so then when I went freelancing, I was freelancing as a musician and a musical reporter, or reporting, the gigs that were happening around here, and started a publication called, well, it was just a threefold magnet, and it was reviewing music that we were listening to here, and at the time videos that people were renting. So it was given a space in the Times Age in their then TV fold pullout. I was putting it into the bags at, if you remember, Video Easy.
That's right.
And Beresford's Music. This is just before Beresford's closed their doors.
Closed down, right.
And before Warehouse and the music department of Warehouse sort of killed all those little ma and pa businesses, which happened. But it was pretty good. It worked for a while, and it was fun. Went to several concerts, like the last, which was not. It left a lot of unhappy campers. The last Mountain Rock. People were not getting paid. Met Joe Satriani, but at the same time met and I met a lot of New Zealand musicians through a couple of the bigger national gigs that I covered, which was again a lot of fun.
So the music scene definitely in the Wairarapa area when you were here was definitely different then than it is now, eh?
Yeah, it was. It was. But there's been one constant there. It's always there. And the originality is always there. The creativity is always there. And it just seems to be. I mean, you don't have to scratch too deep to find it. As you said at your intro, there's a real desert of venues right today. But that doesn't suppress or repress the creativity.
Absolutely.
That's
it's
always
still there bubbling under the...
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, and I think it's up to us to sort of, us that are have the ability to be able to maybe poke it a little, get it to up and, do what we can do.
Yeah.
Great stuff. So I want to talk a little bit, move on. At some stage or other, you went to Whakatane, right, for a while?
No, Whangarei. I lived up there for a while.
Whangarei.
Yeah, that's a while back.
And then was it short after that when you got involved with the Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. That sort of came after I'd left reporting.
Yep.
And then worked a number of different jobs. Went into the wilderness. Freelanced for a while though, and then I was working as what they call a lab tech at the Massey farm, Riverside farm.
Yep.
At Mickey.
Yep.
And as a creative writing tutor in Featherston for Settler Barrett.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a REAP and a couple of REAP courses as well. It was very good, they're superb. And got work as an Orc and a Gondorian. And worked on mainly the second two films. A little of the first, but the second two films. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. It's an outside call from somewhere. I can hear it going, but it's all right.
Yeah.
Now, what I thought, okay, so that must have been an incredible experience, though, in a way.
Yeah, it really was. It really was.
Tell us a bit about the selection process. And, I mean, obviously, as you say, you were in masks. When you're an Orc, you're actually all masked up and all that sort of thing. But when they chose all the people, what was their criteria for choosing who was it?
Yeah, well, I didn't really know. I'd never auditioned for extra work before.
Yeah.
And I went to the show building audition call, Went with my cousin and a couple of friends. We lined up. We got our heads measured. We got our feet measured. Our height, our weight. Because I'm a fairly small guy, I thought, you know, I was moving more toward a hobbit, you know, than an urukai or an elf.
Yeah.
And truth be told, I forgot about it. You know, I didn't get an immediate call back, and it just sort of fell off my radar. But then I think you know, there was a lot of people involved, a lot of people. So I did get a call to see if I was still interested. I went along and ended up working there for months.
Yeah.
And you know, it really was a great experience. I think for me it was the flavour of it changed. I had approached Wingnut, the production company, and Mr. Jackson, who I met. I got a speaking part one day, which was great. I apparently should have been paid a little bit over of what you get as an extra, but that didn't happen, and that wasn't anything that was a priority to me.
Yeah.
I got a speaking part because I realised I'd been there a few months, so I knew the ropes a little bit. So I went along, and if you get there, and I was so small, we were doing this, and I'm not even sure of the name of the wrecked city. It was a sacked city on the side of a river.
Right.
The Wraith Riders are getting really close to Gondor, and the Rangers find Samwise and co, and bring them in. That's Gollum, Samwise, and Frodo.
Yep. And
they bring them in to the sacked city. And they you know, Andy Serkis was there in the blue suit. And,
Yep.
they're coming along, and because I'm shorter than your average Gondorian, I was playing a Gondorian at the time. If they gave me everyone was getting given bows and arrows. Now the bows were big long bows, and you put them across your back, and that dragged because I was shorter than the bow.
Yeah.
Almost. And there was a lot of different sized rocks. It was a sack city.
Right.
So a lot of people were tripping over, and there was some injury. So I asked them, look, could you give me a sword? You know, because it didn't drag, and I could lift it a little bit as I ran. And they did. So I was the only one of about, 40 Gondorian extras that day, 40 or 50. There was a few that had a sword. Everyone else had a bow.
Wow.
So I'm guessing that is why one of the assistant directors come over and said, hey, could you call out, you know, turn around to Frodo and Gollum and Samwise and say, you know, go, hurry. And then the dialogue coach spoke to me, and then Peter Jackson come over and gave me an idea of what I needed to say.
Yeah.
I think it ended up on the cutting room floor, so I didn't actually see it, but that was an exciting day on the set.
Absolutely.
You know, I was on the wet set.
Yeah.
We were out at Palliser. You know, it wasn't just over in Wellington, and it was exciting. Right, every day was exciting.
Absolutely. I mean, this is something that when you're older, your grandkids will talk to you about. You know, I mean, it's pretty amazing. You know, not everybody can say, "Well, I was actually in the movie."
Yeah, that's right.
And you know, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, even people that know that people know that you're in the. Some people know that you're actually in the movie.
Well,
you know,
there's where my regret lies.
Yeah.
More people knew that I was in the movie because, at the time, I was a smoker of cannabis, and so a lot of it is like, I guess, the army, as I've been told, or on the front, is hurry up and wait, because there's a lot of waiting. So I was reading a lot of books, and you know.
As you do,
and occasionally having a smoke or two.
Yeah, but there'd be
just to while away the hours.
There'd be a few of them involved, I would have thought.
Yeah, well, that was the point. And it seemed to fit. You know, looking back, it seems to fit. You know, the Gandalf. You know, you've been smoking too much of the Hobbit weed.
Yeah.
You know, and so on. And there was you know, most of the early aficionados of Lord of the Rings and
absolutely
Hobbits
with Tolkien and stuff. Yeah,
you know, so
exactly, mate.
That was the laugh. But I had wanted to write a thing called the Diary of an Orc, and invert the whole thing about being an extra on those films.
Yeah.
I live in Wairarapa. This is the Valley of Sparkling Water. I crossed the barrier, the Rimatakas, every day to go into Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Like I say, I inverted it. The town where I live, Masterton, it remembers in the shapes of the streets the crucifixion of our Master, Masterton. And these are all truths. These are all real things. And yet I would go into, go into, I was presenting that as a fantasy, and then go into Middle Earth.
Yeah.
And bring home plundered Orcan treasure. They would put out these grand feasts, like giant chupa chups and snow white toffee pops, and I would bring them home. My daughter Auburn, who's a singer herself, she was about 5 or 6 at the time, and so I'd come home and get under the covers and tell her the evils of Saruman and how we'd fought the good fight that day.
Yeah.
And so I pitched that to Wingnut, said, I'd like to do the Diary of an Orc. They said no, because I'd signed a NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. And I'd said, well, there are other stories I could tell, please. It was a bad move. It was a bad decision. And eventually sold that to The Sun in London. I think it was a circulation of a couple of million. And they scrambled at the story. Like you say, they would rather if there was some stars involved, which I didn't see that at all. I spoke first person about what I did and didn't do. And they ran a story called My Drug Hobbit, which is a great little play on words. And they published that the day of the premiere of the second film in London. So it went everywhere. Then TV New Zealand was knocking on the door, and I was getting interviewed by newspapers between Tasman here in New Zealand and over there. So, it went a little bit further afield that I was involved. But I do regret it, because it was such an enjoyable experience. It was just so rewarding. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I think it might be a good time to actually play this track, which is Auburn singing, is it? Or
That's
the
right,
one that
yeah.
you
This
wrote?
is a song that was written back in the day of Token White, in that band.
In that band. So we'll play that now. And I'll just
Auburn is 13. She had won a small competition here, and one of the prizes was a free guitar and an afternoon of recording in Carlton at the Mobile Studio.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so let's see what we can do here, see if we can get this happening. I'm sure we can. So if I take, we're going to take me out. That's me gone.
So
Yeah, well, there you have it. Great. Who was on that? Who was playing on that?
Okay, that was John Maybe on bass,
Yeah.
Darren Knight drums,
Darren, he's still
Mike
about.
Rigg guitar.
Yeah.
I was backing in Auburn, lead vocal.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, those guys are still around. Well,
Yeah, they are.
Still,
Yeah, they
still
are.
playing it. And of course, Auburn, I see her every now and then, and she's got a beautiful voice. I mean, she's blossomed, eh, man?
Yeah, she has. She's over. She's working in hell and loving it.
Yeah.
She's managing over at Cuba there
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah.
She's gone on. She's done her first 2 years at performance art at Whitireia.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Nathan, I want to get on to another thing that I feel I really want the listeners to hear. I know that you've always written stuff, and you've always been a composer, and you've written a lot of, and you've obviously a journaler. But lately, we've been seeing some amazing poems that have come through, especially on
Well, that's
Facebook.
kind
I've
of
been
nice.
following them. I'm thinking, well, what next? But tell us a bit about how was that. There was some direction you planned to go in, or did it just start happening like you started
Yeah,
writing
it was sort of spontaneous. I don't know if you suffer from the same melody, Malady.
Yeah.
When you hear, that particular song.
Yes.
The lyrics have been rewritten slightly.
Yeah, yeah.
But it feels, this really, the reach exceeds the grasp, and I feel a little bit embarrassed about the core of the music and the meaning. I think the meaning has to have some sort of sophistication, whereas I don't think that does. It's okay. I mean, I'm reconciled with it. But I'm developing, I hope,
Yeah.
as a writer and a creator.
Absolutely, but that's what happens. You go through those things and you adjust as you go. And
Yeah, I hope so.
I do it. I've rewritten songs that I've written years ago, and so it's the way it is.
Yeah.
I would love to hear some of your poetry, mate.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, it'd be great. And if anything, I've noticed that some of the poems there's an image. It could be there's a. I was going to go maybe straight to your grandfather, because that's certainly a striking looking man, and the relevance of when and now, even the program we're doing now, bears a lot of relevance.
My grandfather was George Lewis Stewart. He died at 27 in the First World War. In fact, 100 years ago today, he's shot in the face in France. He'll be dead 100 years ago in 3 days' time.
Yeah.
It took him 3 days to die. I think the military unit he was attached to, the 4th Battalion, the Dinks, they were being moved from France to Belgium. And in that movement, he finally died after 3 days of fighting for his young life. I posted the poem on Armistice Day.
Yes.
And a photograph of him. Not even my mother's met my great-grandfather, which is not surprising given the years, but he was only 27 and he was a young family man, had a family that he left in Pongaroa. I think things they say were different in those days. He had a friend that he went to war with. It was, so I've been told, that they thought they were going to fight a jolly good boxing match. I don't think they knew about the horrors of industrialised war.
Absolutely.
And he made a pact with his friend. If I don't come back, could you please look after the family? Well, his friend came back and married my grandmother and brought up his children, as a good friend would do. So I put this poem together, and it was not so much particular to my great-grandfather, but more about our destinies. It's called a Destiny of the Third.
Okay.
Fate is a flute song lamented, the unwrought author of thought and intention, the melody unmoored and scattered among the poor and infected, unmattered amid the slaughters of war and invective. Fate is a first verse kneeling in silver, to roof and to pillar, in honey and butter, to spill fortune from winter and the grave of the summer, from the blood of the moment to gild and to glaze, to furnish with foment the hour of rage. Fate is a siren in the wheelhouse, the bait and bliss of stray oceans, the revenant drift and darkening howl of distemper, the drowning mouth of the sun in surrender, barking at the moon and hearkening the stars, to the never now of Reckless Forever.
Very powerful.
Thank you, Steph.
Very powerful. And I'm sure, I mean, I almost feel, it's funny because I almost feel its presence today, I mean, that's, if you, what a tribute.
Yeah,
what a tribute.
Yeah, when I posted it, there was one particular comment. A guy said, how many? How many?
Yeah.
Countless.
Countless. Just can't.
And 100 years later, we don't seem to have learned.
No, we haven't quite got onto it yet.
1,000 years later, I mean, it's just we're circling the sun over and over and doing the same things.
Yeah, and well, you know my thoughts on peace and war and that whole thing, So, So have your family's obviously, have they made comment at all? Have there been any feedback?
Yeah, they're very supportive. Poetry I've read, you don't just sort of whip it out at the doorstep, as if you wouldn't do that with a family heirloom. You don't do it with poetry.
No, exactly.
And yet I feel this compulsion, especially with people that I care about and that, or at least that are close to me.
Yeah.
You ambush them. What do you think of this?
Yeah.
And I really do think, I have so many doubts, these are just other poems. I'm a part of a couple of online groups, Facebook groups. I've never been published. I don't have any pressing desire to be published. As far as I can tell, I'm doing that now on Facebook. But my family is, Auburn, Bonnie. I asked them what word should be here. What do you think? Because it's really important what the reader thinks. It's everything. So yeah, they're there.
Mate, we haven't talked about Bonnie, have we?
Not yet.
She's pretty amazing of a support in your life,
she's very much. I'm very lucky to have her in my life.
I notice how supportive. When I talk to her, she's incredibly supportive of you, and so, and that helps a lot when you've got that sort of, and you feel as though there's people that are on your side.
Well, you may know it. There was with this whole digital humanism happening now.
Yeah.
There was a time in the 90s where music wants to be free. Napster, where everything was free. Not just that, people demand their information free now. I mean, Arrow Radio. We want it for nothing, or we don't want it. And it needs to be valued. It sort of devalues, the perception of value. If I was to give you a gem, give it to you, you're less likely to prize that gem than as if you had to work a lifetime to get it.
Well, it puts worth in it. It puts the value and the worth of something that's unique and special.
That's right. But it actually changed the playing of music. It took, apparently the album is a dying breed.
I know.
And you could, say that that's something to do with the internet and giving away information and giving away the music. I think that there was a writer for Grateful Dead. He died, and he was one of the first, that band, to encourage people to come and tape their concerts. Music wants to be free. He died a pauper because he had written hits, but Lee Butters,
that's his name.
He wrote bona fide hits, but the royalties were all gone because of the internet. They took them from him. So what an irony. But the thing is, it needs to be revalued. And with poetry is in the same sort of kettle. You don't get anything. You're not paid for it. There's this. I put at the bottom a little copyright just in case. People say, well, you don't need to. But still. Because it took a lifetime to do that. There is an anecdote about Picasso. He's in a restaurant and a woman and her friend approach him and say, "You're Picasso, aren't you?" "Yes, yes." They say, here's a napkin. Could you just scribble on it for us?" So he scribbled on it, gave it back to her and said, $25,000. That took you seconds. It took a lifetime. It's not just nothing,
I know.
But in this day of free information and everything wanting to be free, it can be devalued, immensely.
Absolutely. I've run into that myself with my music on several occasions, with people have taken my songs and recorded them or reproduced them. In Japan, I had huge problems with my album I produced called The Angelic Way. And I went there
I remember interviewing him.
ended up in Japan in the schools, and when I went to some of the schools to do the tour, I found the CD was already there in all the schools, thousands of them. Someone had actually got onto it and reproduced them and sold them to the schools. So left a really bad taste in my mouth. I was a bit upset about it, but I had to rise above it because of where I was and what I was doing, and especially of what the album was about. It was called, you know, it was about the virtues and stuff like that.
Right.
So I had to bury that whole thing and get on with it, and move on and just be as positive as I could. And in the end, it actually came out really well because I did some amazing concerts in Japan when I was there anyway. So
yeah, I remember you saying, yeah,
so that was pretty amazing.
Really cool.
So I think it's what you put out there with the right feeling of you know, it does come round in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could we have another poem?
Yeah, sure. I'm trying now. I've tried a couple of times to, you know, because I tend to I don't know, gravitate to the dark, and so there's a couple that I wanted to be more uplifting. It's been difficult, and I'm still trying to perfect that lift. This is called Veils of Rain. A flower in the dirt, bent at the waist, hands on hips, talking to the birds and facing the sun, weaves its own tree and plats the light through the leaves, and will naturally lean toward the heat, the crayon flames, not unlike you in the dark, and the right of your texture and taste that creates the best of you. So until that arrow hits the target, all you have to do is believe the structure of your own expression and breathe.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Good stuff, mate. Honestly, I think you do need to publish actually, at some stage or other.
Yeah,
get it out there more because people will just it's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's beautiful, mate.
Thank you.
We've only got about 5 minutes to go, so while we're still going, I'd like to hear at least one or if not two more poems,
Sure.
and then we'll finish with a bit of a song. Yeah, so we'll get on with it, so we won't waste any time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. We were going to actually do a bit of a discourse on the creative energy within the Wairarapa.
Yeah, which
area.
there is abundance.
Yeah, and it's here. And you just don't even have to look for it. It's just a matter of providing the right atmosphere and the right people to come together, and it will manifest.
I'm talking to a man who's had a gold record. I think you are still, after all these years, the only one here that's achieved that. You know, that's climbed that mountain. You know?
Yeah.
So and I'm still waiting, Vincent Ward, still waiting for someone to do it as a literary or musical. You know, to go international and big time. You know, to smash records. Because I have no doubt it will happen.
Yeah.
You know, we're not separate from the world we live in. We create it.
Absolutely.
And,
Once you put it out there, it's just, there's no boundaries.
You know,
no
Aotearoa is full of this. You know, in very real terms, we lead the world. I mean, two of the most creative people on the face of the planet chose to live here.
Yeah.
Sir Peter Jackson, James Cameron.
Yeah.
This is no accident.
What more can you say?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we're keeping good company still.
We are, mate.
Getting better all the time.
Absolutely. Right, hit us with another one of the poems, mate.
Yeah, sure. Poetry is, you know, again, it's sort of in a double bind. There is no real fame and fortune in it right today, unless you're a fraction of the 1%, which is just how it goes with most things.
Yeah.
But you pair that with music, and bada bing, bada boom, everything changes. This one is. I'll just grab it. If only I could paint like this. This poem seemed to, of all that I've written the last few months, had a greater reaction than the others. So I can only go on the people that read it. If only I could paint like this. These hands, each finger a seed and a duty and a death. And each a gravestone counted and mourned, a danger in a small town, stirring the fate of the rest. An ear of government, an eye in control, blinding the sun, shimmering in the chrome and leaping from the oil. throwing scraps to the dogs, and drinking all the money running through these fingers, each finger a prayer and a home, a birth and a soul, and each a God in heaven to grieve and to hold. If only I could paint like this.
Yeah. This is powerful stuff, mate. This is really...
Yeah, thank you. It's about creativity.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about yeah, I feel that. Yeah, exactly.
I hope.
We've got about 5 minutes up our sleeve. So, geez, it's a pity we couldn't have worked out a song together. We could have done a song together.
Well, we could
do something. We could wing it. Well, I could do something like, what's a good song?
What is that? Roberta Flack did a song, and it was a guy,
McLean, is it? Or?
No, McCall. First time ever I saw your face. Because that was a folk song originally.
Or the first time. Is that it?
Ever I saw your face, I thought the sun rose in your eyes, and the moon and the stars were the gift you gave to the dark and endless skies, my love.
To the dark
and endless skies. And the first time ever I kissed your mouth, I felt the world turn in your hand, like the trembling heart of a captive bird that was there at my command, my love, that was there at my command. And the first time ever I lay with you, I felt your heartbeat so close to mine, and I knew our joy would fill the earth and last, oh, last till the end of time. Last till the end of time.
bad for a couple of old fellas, eh? Beautiful,
Yeah.
mate.
We'll call that a rehearsal.
We will call it a rehearsal. We did it a couple of times, it'll get better and better.
Yeah.
Well, listeners and viewers, come to the end of another session of Jam Jar, and we thank you for your patience and tuning into us. We know that I know that I get a lot of comments from different people that I see in the street, how much they enjoyed the program. Great thanks to you, Nathan, for coming into the studio today.
Thank you,
Really
Steph.
appreciate it. It's been a great session. I'm really
grateful for the invitation. Yeah, thank you.
So
Grateful for the
we're
friendship,
winding
mate.
up right now, and so that's for Jam Jar, and I am gone and gone out.